Hey there! Ready for another deep dive? Today we're getting seriously wise, exploring the teachings of Djwhal Khul.
Timeless wisdom.
Right, and you know what's wild? It's like this stuff was written for our crazy modern lives, even though it's over a century old.
It's remarkable how relevant these teachings remain in our digital age.
Seriously, we're talking mindfulness for stress, finding purpose in this chaotic world. Like, how do we even begin to find calm amidst the chaos? It's something I think we all struggle with.
It's definitely a common thread I'm seeing. People are feeling this constant pressure to be on, to be achieving, to be connected 24/7. It's no wonder so many of us are feeling burnt out and overwhelmed.
Okay, so let's dive into this whole mindfulness thing. Everyone's talking about it, but what does it actually look like? Like in real life with real deadlines and, a million things vying for our attention.
It's about hitting the pause button in a world that's constantly telling you to press play.
I like that, hitting the pause button so we can actually choose what we give our energy to.
Exactly. It's about creating space, a gap between the stimulus and your reaction. You're not just reacting on autopilot, you're responding with intention.
So it's not about emptying our minds completely, because let's be real, that's nearly impossible in our world.
Right. It's more about learning to observe your thoughts without getting swept away by them.
Mm.
Imagine you're watching clouds drift by. You see them, you acknowledge them, but you don't get caught up in trying to control them.
Okay, that's a helpful visual. So how does this actually play out in those moments when, let's say, you're drowning in emails, deadlines are looming, and you feel that surge of stress taking over?
Mindfulness is like building a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you become at navigating those stressful situations. You start to recognize the early warning signs of stress and respond with more awareness and intention.
So instead of letting stress take us hostage, we become the negotiators.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming your power.
And the source material dives into some really practical techniques for cultivating this mindfulness muscle, right?
Absolutely. It emphasizes that even small, consistent practices can lead to significant shifts in how we experience life. And it highlights two techniques in particular: mindful moments and conscious breathing.
Okay, let's break those down. First up, mindful moments. It sounds like something even the busiest person could manage to squeeze in.
Exactly. We're talking 5-minute pockets of mindfulness that you can incorporate throughout your day.
5 minutes, even I can do that. So what's the magic formula for these mindful moments?
It's about creating a pause, a conscious break in your usual thought patterns. It could be as simple as focusing on your breath for a few minutes, really paying attention to this sensation of each inhale and exhale.
So just tuning into our breath can have that much of an impact.
It's more powerful than you might think. Your breath is always with you, and it acts as an anchor to the present moment. By focusing on it, you're essentially hitting the reset button on your nervous system.
Like a mini vacation for your mind. I like it. But what about those moments when you need a more immediate stress reliever?
That's where conscious breathing comes in. It's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket for those moments when you feel like you're about to lose it.
Okay, I need to hear more about this secret weapon.
It's called the 4-4-4-4 technique, and it's deceptively simple. Ready? You breathe in for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold again for 4.
4444. Got it. Sounds easy enough. But how does this simple breathing exercise work its magic?
It's all about interrupting that physiological stress response. When you slow down your breathing and make it more rhythmic, you send a signal to your nervous system that it's safe to relax, to calm down.
So it's like hitting the override button on stress. I love it. And the best part is that you can do it anytime, anywhere. No one even has to know you're secretly diffusing a stressful situation with your breath.
Exactly. It's a discreet yet powerful tool.
Mindful moments and conscious breathing. I'm already feeling more empowered just knowing about these techniques. But there's another layer to this whole mindfulness thing, isn't there? What about the power of our thoughts?
That's where it gets really interesting. Djwhal Khul's teachings emphasize that our thoughts are incredibly powerful. They're not just passive and zero. They have an energy that directly impacts our reality.
So we're not just victims of our thoughts, we actually have the power to choose them.
Precisely. Every thought you think is like planting a seed. If you're constantly thinking negative, limiting thoughts, guess what? You're more likely to experience those negative outcomes.
Makes sense. But how do we actually shift those thought patterns, especially when our minds are so accustomed to going down those negative rabbit holes?
Awareness is key. And that's where the source material offers a practical tool called thought tracking.
Thought tracking. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's about becoming a detective of your own mind. Each evening, take a few minutes to jot down any negative or limiting thoughts that popped up during the day.
So you're basically catching those thoughts red-handed, bringing them out of the shadows and into the light of awareness.
Exactly. And then once you've identified those negative thought patterns, you can start to challenge them.
So instead of just letting those thoughts run on autopilot, we can actually hit the brakes and say, hold on a second, is that thought even true? Is it helpful?
You got it. And here's the key. You replace those negative thoughts with more positive, empowering ones.
So it's like consciously rewriting the script of our inner dialogue. Instead of I'm not good enough, it
Like
becomes,
capable and worthy.
yeah, right.
You're consciously choosing thoughts that align with the person you want to be.
Love it. It's like we're retraining our brains for positivity. But what about when it feels like our minds are so cluttered with negative thoughts and limiting beliefs that it's hard to even know where to begin?
That's where the mental detox comes in. It's like hitting the refresh button on your mind.
A mental detox. Sign me up. How do we do it?
It's about consciously clearing out all those thoughts that are no longer serving you. Grab a piece of paper and do a brain dump of all those negative limiting beliefs. Get it all out of your head and onto that paper.
So it's like we're externalizing those thoughts, giving them a physical form so we can start to release their hold on us.
Precisely. And then this is the fun part. You literally get rid of those thoughts.
Hmm.
You can tear up the paper, throw it away, burn it, safely, of course, whatever feels symbolic to you.
I love that. It's such a powerful visual representation of letting go of those limiting beliefs. It's like you're reclaiming your mental space, creating a clean slate for possibility.
Exactly. And once you've cleared out that mental clutter, you can then start to fill your mind with more empowering thoughts and beliefs that support your growth and well-being.
Thought tracking and mental detox, two incredibly powerful tools for transforming our relationship with our thoughts. And you know what I find fascinating about all of this is that we're not just talking about feeling better. We're talking about literally rewiring our brains for greater resilience, clarity, and purpose.
It's about taking control of your inner world so you can show up as your best self in the outer world. And the source material actually shares a really inspiring story about a woman named Lisa who completely transformed her life using these very techniques. But maybe we should save that for part 2 of our deep dive.
You read my mind. We'll delve into Lisa's story and explore even more of Djwhal Khul's wisdom in our next episode. But in the meantime...
So we left off talking about the power of our thoughts.
Right. And how we can actually rewire our brains for more positivity and resilience.
Exactly. And that leads us perfectly into the next layer of Djwhal Khul's teachings, purpose.
Okay, purpose. It's a word that gets thrown around a lot these days. But what does it actually mean? And how do we find it in a world that often feels anything but purposeful?
It's easy to get caught up in the idea that purpose is this big, elusive thing, right?
Like it's this grand destination we're all supposed to be striving for.
Exactly. But Djwhal Khul offers a different perspective. It's not about having all the answers or figuring out your entire life plan in one go.
Okay, that's already taking some of the pressure off.
It's about finding meaning in the everyday, regardless of where you are in life right now.
So it's not about some massive career change or life overhaul. It's about finding those little sparks of purpose in the midst of our everyday lives.
Exactly. And it starts by tuning into what lights you up, what makes you feel most alive.
So it's about paying attention to those moments when we feel a sense of joy, of excitement, of being fully engaged in what we're doing.
Exactly. Those are clues. Breadcrumbs leading you towards your purpose.
But what about those times when you feel completely lost? Like you have no idea what your purpose is. We've all been there, right?
Absolutely. And the source material acknowledges that feeling of disengagement, that sense of going through the motions without really feeling connected to anything deeper.
Like you're living someone else's definition of success.
Right. You're checking off the boxes, but it's not feeding your soul.
Okay, so how do we get out of that rut? How do we reconnect with that sense of purpose, especially when it feels like we've completely lost sight of it?
The source material offers some really interesting techniques for tapping into your own inner wisdom. One that stood out to me is life purpose meditation.
Ooh, meditation. I'm always up for a good meditation session, especially if it can help me unlock my purpose.
It's about creating a space for those answers to come through.
Yeah.
Find a quiet place, close your eyes, and start by setting an intention to connect with your purpose.
Okay, setting an intention, like sending a signal to the universe, or in this case, to our own subconscious minds.
Exactly. And then visualize yourself 10 years in the future, living a life that feels incredibly meaningful and fulfilling.
Okay, I love this. Painting a picture of our best possible future selves, already living in alignment with our purpose.
As you visualize that future, ask yourself, what is my purpose? What am I doing that brings me joy and makes a difference?
So it's about really tapping into that future vision and paying attention to any clues or insights that bubble up.
Exactly. And don't overthink it. Just trust that the answers will come.
Life purpose meditation. I love it. But what about those of us who prefer a more practical, structured approach?
The source material has something for you too. It's called purpose mapping.
Purpose mapping. Okay, I'm intrigued. I do love a good visual exercise.
It's about uncovering that sweet spot where your passions, your talents, and your desired impact on the world intersect.
Okay, this is starting to sound like my kind of purpose-finding party.
Grab a piece of paper and draw 3 overlapping circles.
Okay, got it. 3 circles. What goes in each one?
In the first circle, write down all your passions, those things that light you up.
The things you could get lost in for hours and completely lose track of time.
Exactly. And in the second circle, list your talents, those things you're naturally good at.
Okay, I like it. So the first circle is all about what we love, and the second circle is about what we're good at. What about that third circle?
That's where you explore the impact you want to make on the world. What kind of difference do you want to make? What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Okay, so it's about connecting with our values, with the kind of positive change we want to see in the world.
Precisely. And then the magic happens when you look for the overlap between those 3 circles.
That's where the aha moments happen.
Exactly. Where your passions, your talents, and your desired impact intersect, that's where your purpose comes alive.
It's like a roadmap for making decisions and taking actions that feel truly fulfilling.
And the source material shares a great story about a man named James who was feeling stuck in his finance career.
Ooh, career change stories are my favorite. Tell me more about James.
So he does this purpose mapping exercise, and as he's filling in those circles, he has this realization that his true passion has always been about connecting with people, helping them solve problems.
It's amazing how those aha moments can sneak up on you when you least expect it.
Right. And the interesting thing is, when James looked at his talent circle, he realized he was a natural part at bringing people together, facilitating conversations.
So he had this innate ability that wasn't being fully utilized in his finance job.
Exactly. And when he considered the impact circle, it all clicked into place. He realized he wanted to make a difference by helping people feel less alone, more connected, and empowered to live authentic lives.
He realized his purpose was to be a coach or a mentor.
Precisely. And the best part, he took action. He quit his finance job and created a new career path that aligned with his rediscovered purpose.
That's incredible. Talk about a purpose-driven career shift.
It's a powerful reminder that we don't have to stay stuck in careers or situations that no longer feel aligned with who we are.
So life purpose meditation, purpose mapping, and simply paying attention to those things that light us up. We're talking about actively seeking that deeper meaning and then having the courage to align our lives with it.
It's a journey, not a destination. And it's not just about those big aha moments. It's about making small, intentional choices every day that move us closer to that sense of purpose and fulfillment.
Which actually leads us perfectly into the next part of our deep dive. How do we bring purpose to everything we do? Because it's not just about making big, sweeping life changes. It's about finding those everyday moments where we can infuse our actions with intention and meaning.
Absolutely. And that's what we'll be diving into in the final part of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
So we're back and ready to dive into the nitty-gritty of how to actually live with more purpose.
Because it's one thing to have those aha moments about what lights us up.
Right. But how do we actually translate those insights into our everyday lives? Especially when it feels like we're constantly juggling a million things.
Exactly. It's easy to get caught up in the demands of daily life and lose sight of what truly matters. But the source material reminds us that we don't have to wait for some perfect moment to start living more purposefully.
We can start right now, right where we are. But how? Where do we even begin?
It starts by making small, intentional choices throughout our day.
Okay, so it's not about some massive life overhaul. It's more about those subtle shifts in our mindset and our actions.
Precisely. And the source material introduces this concept of intentional living, which I think perfectly captures this idea.
Intentional living. Okay, I'm listening.
It's about setting daily intentions that align with your core values and the impact you want to have on the world.
So it's like starting each day with a clear purpose, a guiding principle that influences how you show up in all areas of your life.
Exactly. And those intentions don't have to be grand or complicated.
They can be as simple as, today I'm going to be fully present with my family, or I'm going to approach my work with a positive attitude.
You got it. It's
Yep.
about bringing that sense of purpose into those everyday moments.
Because it's easy to just go through the motions, right? Especially with those routine tasks that we do day in and day out.
Absolutely. But intentional living is about finding ways to infuse even those mundane activities with a deeper sense of meaning.
Okay, I'm really liking this concept, but I have to admit, even knowing I should set these daily intentions, sometimes life just happens and I forget.
I hear you. That's why the source material suggests incorporating a simple practice into your morning routine.
Okay, I'm all about adding more good stuff to my morning routine. What is it?
Before you jump into the demands of your day, take a few moments for reflection. Ask yourself, what is my intention for today? How do I want to show up? What kind of energy do I want to bring to my interactions?
So it's like setting your internal compass each morning, making sure you're moving in a direction that feels aligned.
Exactly. And you can even jot down your intention on a sticky note and keep it somewhere visible throughout the day.
Ooh, I like that. A visual reminder to help you stay on track.
Exactly. And if you find yourself feeling stressed or overwhelmed, you can always refer back to that intention. It's like a grounding force that can help you navigate those challenging moments.
So intentional living, it's a simple yet powerful concept, and it's really resonating with me.
And if you're looking for another tool to add to your purpose-building toolkit, the source material also talks about the importance of gratitude.
Gratitude, always a good thing. But how does gratitude tie into living a more purposeful life?
It's about shifting your perspective. Instead of focusing on what you don't have or what's not going your way, you focus on appreciating what's already present in your life.
So it's about finding those little sparks of joy in the midst of the everyday.
Exactly. And the more you focus on gratitude, the more you start to see those little blessings everywhere.
I love that. But sometimes it's hard to feel grateful when you're like knee deep in laundry and deadlines and to-do lists.
Oh, I hear you. But that's where the real magic of gratitude comes in. It's about finding those things to appreciate even when life feels challenging.
So instead of focusing on the pile of laundry, I could be grateful for the washing machine that's doing all the hard work.
Exactly. Or grateful for the clothes on your back, the roof over your head, the food in your fridge.
It's about shifting from a place of lack to a place of abundance.
Exactly. And when you approach life with that lens of gratitude, even those everyday tasks can start to feel more meaningful.
Because you're doing them from a place of appreciation rather than resentment.
Precisely. And that's a really powerful shift to make. The source material actually shares a really inspiring story about a woman named Emily who completely transformed her experience of motherhood and work by incorporating this gratitude shift.
Oh, I love a good transformation story. Tell me more about Emily.
So Emily was a busy marketing executive and a mom of 2 young kids.
Okay, I can already relate. Sounds like she had her hands full.
She was feeling completely overwhelmed, like she was constantly running on empty.
That feeling of being pulled in a million directions at once, I know it well.
So she started incorporating the gratitude shift into her daily routine.
Okay, so how did she actually do it? What did that look like for her?
Well, instead of rushing through those everyday tasks on autopilot, she started looking for things to appreciate.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Instead of dreading her morning commute, she'd use that time to listen to her favorite podcast or appreciate the fact that she had a job to go to. Instead of feeling resentful about making dinner for her family, she'd focus on gratitude for having loved ones to cook for her.
It's amazing how those small shifts in perspective can make such a big difference.
Right. And the more she practiced gratitude, the more those feelings of joy and contentment started to permeate other areas of her life.
So it's like gratitude has this ripple effect.
Exactly. It's a practice that can transform not just our inner world, but also our outer experiences.
Wow, Emily's story is so inspiring. It's a good reminder that we don't have to wait for our lives to be perfect to start feeling grateful and fulfilled.
Precisely. And that's what I love about Djwhal Khul's teachings. It's not about achieving some unattainable state of perfection. It's about finding peace, purpose, and growth in the midst of our perfectly imperfect lives.
And that's something I think we can all get behind. Well, there you have it. Djwhal Khul's timeless teachings on mindfulness, purpose, and personal growth, broken down into practical tools and techniques that you can start incorporating into your life today.
Remember, it's not about making drastic changes overnight. It's about taking small, consistent steps in the direction of a more mindful, purposeful, and fulfilling life.
We'll be back next time to dive into another fascinating topic designed to help you unlock your full potential. Until then, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep shining your light.